Tara Bradbury from Active Agents in Hervey Bay. I'm actually inside one of our units today that we're preparing to go onto the rental market. The unit that I'm actually in is a furnished property, and we are finding that in Hervey Bay at the moment that we still have a bit of a need for furnished properties that are on the permanent rental market, and that's been quite popular, whether they be a unit or a house. And we're still kind of struggling in that area. I'd usually have you outside, but it's a bit overcast and rainy today, like most areas of Queensland at the moment. We're experiencing some good rain and hopefully some more sunshine over the next couple of weeks. Looking across what we've been able to achieve with some of our rental properties, in the last few months, we are still seeing a strong demand for rental properties within our area. Our vacancy rate is still anywhere between 0.2 to 0.4% vacancy rate. And there are still properties that don't actually quite get on to realestate.com, Home Lead, Domain, and the other property portals that are out there, which is a sign that the market is still strong for us here in the region. Multiple applications on properties still, anywhere from 10 to 15 for any of our properties that are advertised and renting from that 400 per week through to 500, 550. We are still seeing properties that are advertised around that 600 up to 750, and they'll normally have additional extras where it might be extra shed space, ducted aircon, might have a pool, a spa, or some more creature comforts that you'd experience in your own home as well. We have found, and our business isn't primarily involved in sales, we actually focus on property management, but the feedback from sales businesses across Hervey Bay is that we have passed our peak now, and the market is still high, the demand is still there, and there's definitely still good buyer inquiry across properties that are in that 450 through to 500, 600 price bracket. However, it has kind of backed off a little bit, and we did notice a change and a shift with the recent new government elected and changes around our interest rates as well. It is still a very tough market for tenants out there, and we are finding that we can match most of the tenants that reach out to us directly, but I would still suggest that we are heavily still in a very much in a rental crisis. I'd probably suggest, compared to the last time that we provided the update, which was a couple of months ago, that the rents are still similar. I wouldn't suggest that they have increased any further. And our 4 bedrooms are still renting anywhere from $450 through to $550 for a standard 4 bedroom. And obviously the higher end will depend on the renovations that have been completed to the property and the location as well. But otherwise, we are still getting a positive response in the rental market for our business, more so where we're seeing owners, if they can't sell their property or if they're looking at relocating and they're wanting to hold on to it for a long-term investment, we are now starting to see some of those properties come on the rental market. So I do feel that we will start to adjust a little bit closer to up to a 1% vacancy rate over the next 12 to 18 months. And that's still a challenging market for tenants and a strong market still for our property investors in the way of rental returns. But we have certainly noticed a change and a shift in the movement in activity around our rental properties. I'll hand over now to Ashley.
Hi, Ashley from SoCo Realty, giving you your Perth rental market update for the last quarter. And I know I say it each time, but it's still the same and nothing is really changing. It's still really great for landlords, and rental properties in the suburbs, we are definitely finding higher home opens. So it's not unusual for us to get 30 to 50 people through a home open. And the quality of applications, though, is still pretty poor. So of those applications that come through, we probably get about 30% from a home open. There's still a lot of crap out there. So while we probably last month were just having to do one home open and being successful in finding a tenant, we are finding some properties are needing 3 home opens before getting a good tenant, and that's 3 big home opens. So apart from that, it's still pretty good. Not finding we're getting a lot of people offer more, so people are reining that in, which I think is a good thing, because we don't want to see it spike too much going up either. So I am happy with that. And then we've seen in Perth quite a few people interstate who are moving over. So I'm noticing that influx a little, and investor activity is still strong, but they're not buying in close to the city. 5 or 10 k's, they're definitely buying out more in the suburbs, which is good and it's needed. So in Perth, we've got some suburbs with 0 stock available for rent, which is pretty tough. So I consider a suburb in Perth that has less than 5 properties available for rent a suburb that is in high demand. So that's always a good strong indicator of how your property is going to perform. If your suburb has maybe 10 to 15 properties available, it's still pretty reasonable, but definitely you will have a little bit more competition. And then there are some suburbs. There's one particular in Baldivis, and it is a larger suburb, but there's 42 homes available for rent there. So you are definitely going to find in some suburbs that have a huge amount of homes available for rent that the competition is definitely there, and you want and therefore you can only stand out by having a lower price. So you do, where possible, want to avoid suburbs with high stock levels on the rental market. But otherwise, it's busy, but there's not the desperation that you hear of on the media. And so it's good. So basically, if you have a property for rent in a suburb with less than 5 properties available, then generally 1 home open will be enough. The other thing to just be mindful of is lease renewals. So we are seeing rents increase, but most owners are being pretty reasonable for decent tenants in a property. So we are still seeing anywhere maybe between $20 and $40 actually per week. So still significant, but we're not seeing anything astronomical like $100 or $150 a week, which we actually did see last year. So that has definitely come back a little bit. So that is the rental market in Perth. But if you have a specific suburb you want me to address, feel free just to comment below and we will do that for you.
Hi there, Ashley Merlot, the founder and director of specialist property management agency, The Property Collab. We are based in Wheeler Heights on Sydney's Northern Beaches, and we specialise in the Sydney market on the Northern Beaches and Lower North Shore. So coming to you today to give you some insights into what's happening in our rental market presently. So over the last 18 months, we have had a very strong market locally with a number of people moving into our area, looking for that lifestyle location, especially being close by to the beach. Post-Easter, we have seen a little bit of a pullback in the market, but there most definitely are a number of micro markets out there that we're currently experiencing. So for example, we've got the housing market and then we've got the apartment market. On the housing market at the moment, there is a real shortage of good quality homes across our marketplace. So when the selling market was incredibly strong, we were finding that a lot of investment owned homes were put on the market for sale and have since been sold, leaving a lot of local tenants needing houses. What we're currently seeing when it comes to houses and good quality houses is we are seeing quite a huge number of people coming through those opens, and quite often quite a number of tenancy applications being received. In terms of the apartment market, however, we are seeing that there is quite a bit of a pullback in the market there. So pre-Easter, typically we would see anywhere between sort of 10 to 15 groups coming through our open homes. At the moment for apartments, we're seeing anywhere sort of between 3 to 7 groups through. So there is definitely, at this moment in time, more supply than there is demand. And sometimes that can affect our days on market and also the rental return being achieved. We are, however, finding that any properties that are marketed strategically, present really well, and also obviously are priced accordingly, they are still leasing quite swiftly. Our average days on market here at the Property Collab currently is sitting around 8 days. So as long as we're getting all of those initial things right, there's no reason why our clients' properties would be sitting there on the market vacant. However, we have seen out there in the marketplace, not necessarily through our agency, but just the market as a whole, that if someone was a little bit too ambitious when taking the property to market initially, you know, in a summer market, you can shoot for the stars and you can bring that back over time if you need to. However, at the moment, we are finding that we're able to get better results faster for our clients by being a little bit more conservative. Those other properties that we refer to, there's been quite a number on the market, specifically apartments, that have then, you know, sat on the market from anywhere for 6 to 8 week periods. So it is really important to make sure that you're getting that pricing and the presentation and the marketing right at the start to make sure that you're getting a result quickly. In terms of rental increases, we are still seeing rental increases across the board. However, they are property specific, and it's obviously really dependent on the property, the rental that property was achieving. So that is quite varied. We are renewing leases at the same market rent. We are having, you know, we do have other leases that we're negotiating with rental increases up to $100 per week. So it really does vary depending on the property itself. So thanks so much for tuning in today. If you have any questions or queries, I'd be delighted to assist you wherever I can. Ashley Merlot, the founder and director of the Property Collab. Thanks so much.
Hey guys, it's Corinne here from Ray White in Beenleigh. We look after the Logan and surrounds area in the Queensland rental market. Just here for another market update. We have seen the vacancy rate drop lower within the Beenleigh corridor area. We were at the end of last year sitting at 0.6%, and now we have dropped down to 0.4%. So we are seeing still massive demand for rental properties in the area, especially good quality homes, up to 4 bedrooms as well. And then we also do have some requests for smaller unit type properties, especially for single people of 1 to 2 bedrooms within the budget that they are looking for. We are still leasing properties between 1 to 2 inspections, still averaging 7 days on the rental market. The industry average within the Beenleigh and surrounding area is up to 15 days according to realestate.com. So we're still sitting with our office in particularly under that industry average. We did also see a massive increase of applications being received in the month of June. We've received over 80 applications on just under 9 properties available for rent. And then we also did receive 1,456 rental inquiries as well. So we have also seen the average rent increase to $484.40 across what we've leased over the month of June. So still massive demand there. It is a landlord's market in regards to the choosing of who they put in their properties. There are still good quality applicants that are missing out, but we are still also receiving our fair share of probably not so desirable tenants as well. So with such a high volume of applications, we still make sure we sift through everyone and represent all applications to the owner that we think would be suitable for their properties. So owners are still choosing who they would prefer to put in their homes. We do hope to see some more rental properties coming on the market. I have had some more investors from interstate as well purchase within the area. So with just having a bit of work done on their properties and then coming available for rent. So overall, still a good market, still going strong. Vacancy rates are still low, and we are still having majority of tenants stay in properties and only really relocating for work purposes and whatnot as well. So overall, majority of our leases are being renewed. Owners are still increasing with up to about $50 per week. Nothing too extravagant at this point in time. And tenants and landlords are still negotiating between themselves. So we'll see how the next quarter rolls through. Thanks, guys.
Hey guys, it's Jason Wright from Essential Property Management in South Australia, and I'm here to do the market report for the April to June quarter of 2022. In South Australia, it's been really interesting. The media is obviously going rampant about interest rates. I've seen no slowdown of the selling market whatsoever in the sub 500,000 bracket. I go to a lot of open homes on behalf of interstate investors all the time, and what I can tell you is that the market is still crazy. We're missing out left, right and centre, week in, week out, still yielding really well. So 500 grand will get you a $500 a week return, give or take $20. What I'm noticing as far as applications, we're still getting about 100 inquiries per property and about 30 applications per property. But what I am seeing is a real lull in the quality of those tenants. So for every 100 inquiries, only 4 or 5 of them are really worthy of having a conversation with. In the over 500 a week bracket, the interest does die off a little bit. The other really interesting thing that's happening in the press for South Australia is you're seeing the Greens go Sunday to a vote. They're trying to fix increases to every 2 years and only by CPI. The reply from the Premier basically says his job is to mitigate the balance of housing supply with the viability of that for private landlords. I'll be genuinely surprised if that gets across the line, if I'm perfectly honest with you, but we'll find out after next week. Thanks, guys.
Hi, Bree here from Locations Estate Agents in Gladstone, Queensland, just with a quarterly update on the market. We are sitting at about a 1.5 to 1.8% vacancy rate over the last couple of months. We're still seeing a huge amount of interest on properties, with over 500 applications received in the last month, and close to 1,000 inquiries on most properties. Our average days on market is sitting a little bit high, but that's purely just based on the amount of applications that we are processing at the time. At the moment, I can see the market still sort of going up here, which is great. The median house price for a 4x2 is around $420 and a 2x2 unit is around $280 per week.
Hi, Tamika Smith here from Key2 Property down in Tasmania. I look after the north of the state down here and the Meander Valley region. The second quarter has been a really interesting quarter in the property management space. We're seeing that things are starting to quieten down in the rental market in the higher end. So when I say higher end, over that 500 a week here is classed as the higher end, and that's starting to slow down. So we're seeing applications slower coming in. It's taking about 2 to 3 weeks to lease that higher end kind of property. The mid-range property in that 3 to 500, that is still really buoyant. We're receiving over 100 applications per property. So that is really a buoyant market. So if you're looking to invest, that mid-range market, 3-bed, 1-bathroom home is a good place to be investing at the moment because the interest is still there and the rents are not changing. Good areas to be buying at the moment are in around the CBD and our family suburbs. They are really popular and going extremely well. Vacancy rates across the board are still only just under 1%. So across the board, overall really good. Lease renewals, we're finding still about a 98% renewal rate, which is fantastic. And we're finding that rents are going up at the moment on an average of about $25 a week. So in the first quarter, we were seeing about $40 to $50 a week. This quarter, we're seeing about $25 a week. So that just shows that the market is starting to stabilise and slow down a little bit, particularly with the interest rate changes. People are a little bit nervous about what's to come. Sales here are still going well, but same, it's stabilised. So it is a good market to be investing in. We're finding on an average we're back at the 5% return on investment, which is fantastic. So anything in Tassie that you need, certainly reach out. Would love to talk to you.